This is day 5 of Tour du Mont Blanc, and I just left Rifugio Bertone and I'm on the way to Rifugio Elena. And on the way to Rifugio Elena, I just saw this amazing view of Mont Blanc, and there was even a wooden bench on the trail. Mont Blanc is just over there, and honestly, so far it's been quite challenging. I also think I overpacked, but yeah, it's been super challenging, especially day 2 and day 3, extremely challenging. But after that, my body adapted, the views got even better, and I'm just so grateful that I'm here and I'm able to experience all of this, able to see the glaciers as well, because I don't think they will last forever. And it's just been so good so far. I'm so happy, although I've been super tired over the last couple of days, and mentally it's been quite draining. This is actually yesterday and today, I think it's the first time that I have the trail to myself pretty much. I met really nice people during the first couple of days, but then we all ended up going like to different ways. So yesterday and today I think will be the days where I'll have the trail to myself, and yeah, I'm just gonna take it easy, enjoy the views as much as possible. And yeah, it's been such a roller coaster so far. This is probably one of the most scenic sections of the trail, so I suggest you take your time because the views are insane. And what I really like about this part of the TMB is that I'm not constantly climbing. The trail mostly traverses in the mountainside, so I can actually take in the views without having to concentrate on the steep ascent the whole time. I'm heading towards Rifugio Bonatti now, which is probably one of the most famous refugios on this side of the TMB. And the reason why it's so popular is pretty obvious once you get there. The refugio has this incredible position overlooking Val Ferret, with the Grand Jurasses directly opposite. I ended up getting a small piece of cake and coffee, and because I had pretty much the whole day to myself and today was another active rest day, let's call it, I wanted to take my time, so I ended up just relaxing for about an hour and taking in the views. From Bonatti, the trail eventually descends towards the valley before I start climbing again towards Rifugio Elena. This spot feels completely different. I'm now surrounded by the valley and much closer to the glaciers before the trail starts gaining elevation again. It was getting really hot at this point and I could really feel the sun burning through my clothes. This was also another point during the TMB where I started questioning my life choices because it was so warm I honestly couldn't stand it. But then I quickly reminded myself that being able to experience this is such a privilege. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the world where they have some sort of a disability that prevents them from doing such things. So being able to feel the pain both physically and emotionally is a privilege to an extent, because without pain you don't really appreciate the things that you already have, and this is something that this trip kept reminding me. Once I got to the river, I ended up having a quick nap for about maybe an hour, and then after about a 3-hour hike I finally reached Rifugio Elena. This was the point where mentally I started feeling quite low, and tomorrow was going to be the longest day on the TMB of about 28 kilometers crossing the Swiss border. I took a shower and I went to have dinner and then enjoyed the views before going to bed. And because I was so exhausted, I went to bed and started feeling like I was going to have a panic attack. It's not a really nice feeling, so I ended up staying awake until 3 in the morning to basically battle with this feeling and control my mind so I don't actually get a panic attack. I didn't sleep much last night, so on day 6 I was quite exhausted. I started the day at around 2060 meters above sea level, and there's really only one way to go, and that's up. The first big challenge of the day is Grand Col Ferret at 2537 meters above sea level. The climb was pretty steep in places, but as I got higher, the views behind me just got better and better. Grand Col Ferret marks the border between Italy and Switzerland, so this is quite a cool moment of the TMB.
I officially crossed into Switzerland. From here, the trail changes completely. I descended into the Swiss Bauferet and the landscapes became much greener and more open. Eventually, I passed La Folie and then I reached Champella. I didn't film much on this day because I was short on time and really tired, but I pitched my tent and then had some food and went straight to bed. I made some friends on the trail on the previous day and we ended up staying at the same campsite, and unfortunately at around 3 a.m. both of them got really sick. I think they drank contaminated water somewhere in Switzerland, so they basically called the ambulance and I wanted to help them basically pack all of their things because they had zero strength whatsoever. So it was another pretty tough night on the TMB. I only had about 4 hours of sleep. I had a pretty bad breakfast and started the hike on day 7. Halfway through the climb in the morning I started feeling really sick, so I had to rely on my emergency sugar gels. We then reached a farm in the middle of nowhere and I bought some food. It was really hot and I genuinely felt like I was about to pass out, but I had some food, felt a little bit better, and we continued the hike. Finally we got to the campsite called Le Peuty. The shower situation wasn't great, but at least I could take a shower, and then I had this massive bowl of salad. I genuinely felt like a new person, and then I decided to sleep under the stars. I knew this was going to be my last night sleeping at a campsite because the next few nights I was going to stay at the Rifugio, so naturally I made the most out of it. Every night on the TMB I would have this excitement for the next day of the views that I will see and what I will experience, but at this point the excitement was disappearing very fast. It was really cold in the morning. I had about maybe 5 hours of sleep, and to be honest guys, I just couldn't wait to finish with this whole trail. After having breakfast I ended up giving away quite a lot of the food that I had in my backpack and gas and a few other things to a group of people from the UK so they can use it for the rest of their hike. I then finally reached the border between Switzerland and France, and I was so happy to be back in France because it meant I was getting really close to finishing with this trail. I reached the border quite early, I think at around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and I decided to have beer to celebrate this. My plan was to stay in a chalet at La Tour, and just before I reached the chalet I laid on the grass and I wanted to relax a little bit, and all of a sudden I started feeling a strange but very small pain on the back of my Achilles. I didn't think much of it, and after some time I finally reached La Tour, and as I was taking my backpack off to go and check in, my foot basically gave up. I got this super sharp pain on my Achilles, and actually my original plan was to just get over it and just keep going. And ironically, during the dinner at La Tour I ended up sitting next to 2 guys from Denmark who happened to be doctors and convinced me not to continue because it could become a much bigger problem. So on day 9, instead of sleeping at Rifugio Elena, I took the bus to the finish line. At first I felt quite disappointed with myself because I couldn't walk the last 19 kilometers, but then I reminded myself of all the days that I could have given up, and they were so hard, especially day 2. And I didn't give up during those days, so for me that was a much bigger achievement. I was also super excited to finally see my partner who was waiting for me at the finish line, and then we ended up exploring different parts of France during the last 3 days. If you're planning on doing TMB at some point, I definitely suggest that you start planning quite early, at least 6 months in advance, and training for it as well. Also, if you're someone like me who struggles with hot weather, spending time at the sauna helped me quite a lot, so I definitely recommend doing that. And if you have some free time when you're in Geneva, definitely go to the lake for a swim. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you found this useful.